a way, this is what this is about. You've got poems on the words, are all taken from workshops that we did in my little museum. So I set up a museum with having absolutely no interest in museums or heritage. But I live in Somerstown, which is between St Pancras, King's Cross and Euston, and that tells you a lot because the area is basically, it's kind of beyond gentrification. It's kind of what I would call institutionalisation, really, because there are national development projects in this area which we as local residents don't really have a voice. So, you know, going out there, as I did once to stop a luxury tower being built, did fuck all, to be honest, if I'm honest. So what can you do? The only thing you can do to save an area and a community, it seemed to me, was to sort of say, this is a place with memories and stories. And so actually the combination of Robert with us was like a genius stroke, really, because it's sort of like what I was doing was recording people's memories, the people that were dying and could remember the housing association, that it's a very deprived area, it used to be a slum, and there's a rich heritage there. And the narrative of the developers is to wipe that out. You know, what London will become is glass towers. You mentioned glass. You know, like, we don't want that. None of you want that, really. What you want is stories. You don't want a homogenised London, because you could be in Singapore, Beijing, anywhere, and it all looks the same, and that's what's going to happen. Glass towers, as someone said better than me, Martin Evans, do not hold stories. People hold stories. So this is what it did, and I think it's just a genius stroke. It's what I'm doing by setting a museum. It's just that, and it's tiny. Do come along. It's between Euston and St Pancras, 52 Phoenix Road. Quite a nice name.
It's a great museum. I think I'm an honorary trustee. It's a fantastic museum. It's because it's a museum that Diana's almost like also an artist who uses cultural heritage and activist who uses cultural heritage, because she's invented a museum that is completely unique and curated from the grassroots up, and she's got an amazing archive of like community heritage, community activism, and also the multiculturalism of the area that has been a wonderful sort of like in these tides that reflect wider London tides, and it's a really brilliant piece of art, almost a museum, but it's a great community museum. And we went in together with like, invited anyone to come, and we all tried to write some poetry, and then we did it on a big canvas, and then I didn't write this stuff, my job was to edit it, really.
Yeah.
You know.
And we had lots of people invited from the community. We did a couple of workshops, and we sort of downloaded our brains, including Steve and local people, in all the history. So some of it came from Robert, some of it came from us. We were saying like William Godwin, father of anarchism, lived there. His wife was William's wife was Mary Wollstonecraft, who you would have heard of, I think. The daughter was Mary Shelley. So all these voices and ghosts live in the fabric of the area. But if we don't tell those stories, it just becomes a developer's dream or nightmare, you know. And the reason I started the museum actually was because I just started recording voices at 10 years ago of people, and what was coming across was like people were feeling, well, they'll get rid of us. It's mainly social housing still, which is in central London very rare, and there's a really strong community feeling which inspired me. And they were saying, we're going to be pushed out, we're going to be pushed out. But like objecting to that doesn't really work. So in a sense, it's kind of the soft power of stories. And actually having it projected on the walls is quite a sort of, you know, it's making the walls breathe. It's not just a hotel, that is actually a hotel. But it's brought it to life, hasn't it? And the words come from everybody, the histories, and also there's little fragments of like something about the Pearly Kings, isn't there? And the Pearl. I was glad you used that one because that came from me.
The Pearly Kings began in Somerstown, not in the East End, but in Somerstown, interestingly. Tell a bit about that story. It's very good, that story, because that educated me completely.
Yeah, I know. The Pearly King, the first one was Henry Crofton. He started as a sort of what they called a costermonger, which was basically selling stuff on the market. And they decided, as a sort of working class self-help, there was no welfare state then. It was obviously you'd raise money from people and then give it to a family in need. And they still do that, the Pearly Kings and Queens. I know they're seen as a bit of like a tourist attraction, but the first one was Henry Crofton. It was his 150th birthday last year. So one of the phrases was, "We are the grit in the oyster," because a pearl is an oyster and it comes from grit, doesn't it? So if you didn't have the grit in cities, you would have no life or culture or anything. If you didn't have Robert, you didn't have... And that's why it struck me. And I went to a lecture by Robert Elms, who you may know is a great London commentator, and he said cities need slums. And I think without that creativity, it just dries, it just dries away. So this is brought to life, and I hope they light up the other ones, and do come and see us and we'll do a walk.
Thanks, Naomi.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Naomi. I want to open the room to the audience. I'm sure you have many